Annyeong, it's Mikey here, and guys, thank you so much again for always supporting this channel, and I can't wait to show you guys next week the amazing videos that I'm working on for the Wooting. But for this week, we're going to be giving a huge shout out and thank you to Luminkey for sending me out the Mega HE Pro. Now, this, guys, is a Hall of a keyboard that is actually able to do 8K, and let's go straight into the unboxing. My bad, my pronunciation. Let's go straight into the unboxing and take a look and do a full review and even some gameplay.
So starting off, the unboxing of the Luminkey Mega HE Pro. And thank you again to Luminkey for sending me this out. Now, I'm not very good at unboxing and I wish I could make this a lot more satisfying for you guys, but let's get this open and take a look to see this keyboard. So, as soon as we have it open, take a look, we get this manual that's going to have instructions as well as a QR code to get the drivers, a switch puller, keycap puller, one extra switch, which is going to be the Gateron Jade Pro, and a nice cable. It actually comes braided, which is really nice to see. Now, let's get the keyboard open, and wow, my goodness guys, this does look really nice. Like, this is supposed to be the champagne color, and it looks so good. Like, wow, I can't believe how much effort Luminkey put into making this keyboard. The back looks beautiful, the front looks beautiful. I'm gonna be honest, the keycaps, I think they could have done a little bit different. I think the milky keycaps would have actually looked really nice on the champagne color. So of course we're gonna weigh the keyboard and then we'll go straight into a sound test. So this keyboard weighs about 1.2 kilos. Now that we're done with the sound test, let's tear down the keyboard to see what's inside. This keyboard comes with 8 screws, so let's get all the screws out and open up this board. So something really nice to see is that this is a gasket mounted keyboard. You know, when I worked with my Wooting, one thing I did notice was that it wasn't gasket mounted, and I found that the sound wasn't as great because of it. Now, this is going to be fully silicone wrapped, so instead of your regular foam in the middle between the PC plate and the PCB, it's actually silicone. And even on the bottom, as you can see, it's all silicone, and it has this little cutouts where the silicone's actually going to go into the bottom of the case. And the bottom also, no foam, just pure silicone that actually is really nicely cut out to fit the exact shape of the PCB. So you can see that Luminkey actually has put a lot of work on this keyboard. And it's actually pretty impressive to see how they did this. I mean, I think though it probably would have sounded a lot nicer if they actually had a foam in between and then just a silicone like sock on the PCB side. But instead of doing a regular PC plate where you would put that kind of sock on it, they actually just put a whole silicone in between the PCB and the plate. Now, I'm going to see what I can do to mod this keyboard because there's no foam, I'm thinking that instead of what I normally do, I'm going to put the sound dampener all the way on the bottom of the plate, like all the way on the bottom part of the case, and then do a tape mod on the PCB because again, there's no foam on the bottom of the PCB. So I'm going to do 2 layers is what I originally did, and then I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a tip. So as you can see, that is 2 layers of tape, and I have the foam on the bottom, and I also put the silicone on top. Now I put the dampener on the bottom just because it is technically better when the dampener is all the way at the bottom. So right here, I'm putting the gasket back, and I'm having issues trying to put it back. So big tip when you actually do take this apart and you try to put this all back together is make sure the silicone in between the PCB and the PC plate is actually well placed, because if you don't do that, it actually has a very difficult time being put together. As you can see, like I was trying to put this all in and I noticed that it wasn't working so well, and I felt that maybe it was a bit too tight and something was off. So at this point I was like, okay, you know what, let's get this reopened and then see what's going on. And I'm actually removing 1 layer of tape, which actually, now thinking back to it, I probably didn't actually have to remove that tape layer. It's just that the silicone between the PCB and the PC plate was not put in correctly. So when you are taking this apart to mod it yourself, if you do get yourself a Mega HE, I would suggest put the PC plate and the PCB, like the silicone in between, properly back in, like fit it right in exactly, because this needs exact placement of everything for the gasket to fully close. So once everything is set in, and again, you can see how like the corner on the bottom right there, it's actually not fully in. So I actually had to put it back in properly. And then once that was done, I could actually get the gasket back on and then put it back together, put the screws in. Again, I always put corners first just so that it gets placed in properly. And I also don't want it to just get fully squished too much. Afterwards, I'm going to show you guys a sound test of the modded keyboard. So just giving you guys my own thoughts on this keyboard. Now, this comes with the Gateron Jade Pro. So the Jade Pro is a completely new switch. It was released very recently, and a lot of people are very excited about it because it's supposed to be what they thought would be a great upgrade for the Wooting, and people are wondering how it would sound in a Wooting 80HE. So Luminkey actually was able to work with Gateron and get the Gateron Jade Pro for their Luminkey Mega HE Pro keyboard. They do sound pretty decent. They are a little bit on the clacky side, I find, a little bit loud. But in general, the Jade Pros I found were a very decent switch, especially for a Hall effect switch. And this is a Hall effect keyboard, guys. So you're going to get rapid trigger, you're going to get snap tap, and all these extra features from this keyboard. And we're going to have to go straight into software for me to show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So first, let me show you guys where you can go to find this software. You're going to go to Luminkey's website, and then from there, you're going to see there's going to be a support tab. Go over there and then go to firmware. There you can see the Mega 68 quick start guide, and you can actually download it either from a OneDrive or the Google Drive. I know it seems a little bit sketchy, but once you download it, this is the software for Luminkey. Now, this keyboard, guys, comes in 8K. But you can also change the polling rate. So you have 1000, 2000, 4000, and 8000, which is really cool. And this software actually looks really decent. And you have a debounce. You can choose low, medium, or high. I was actually quite impressed with this keyboard. The fact is, this is a lot of work to put into a software. And I'm going to show you guys just my testing on Keyboard Inspector with the different polling rates. Now, Keyboard Inspector still isn't fully perfect for 8K. I don't really have a device or hardware to be able to do the testing myself, or like a high-speed camera. So this is how I'm doing my tests from what I experienced before. If you max out the binning rate, it gives you a little bit more of a close not even accurate, but I would say just a closer reading. And as you can see, when I put the bidding rate all the way to max, you can see that it's getting about 8K polling rate, which is really, really good. Like, this is the best you can get. And interesting enough, I can show you guys, even with this keyboard, when I change the settings to different polling rates, you will see that it does change. So once that resets, we do the testing again, and then we're going to see, once we max out the bidding rate, look, it's at 4,000 hertz. So this keyboard actually comes in different polling rates. Like, you can actually change it up depending on what you're looking for. So really going into the software, you guys have the remapping, so you can change the function layers, or you can even change the main layer. And then we go into performance, and this is where you can actually change your rapid trigger. So interestingly enough, this shows you which switches are actually in your keyboard. So it's actually trying to see what switch your keyboard's using, so it can give you a more of an accurate read, which is quite interesting. I'm actually surprised to see this feature in the software. Now, once I had it in and I was actually going through, you can actually have different presettings. So they do have a Valorant, CSGO, FPS mode, MOBA mode. So they already have some presettings. And once you actually go in to doing a little bit more settings of rapid trigger or where you want the actuation to be, this changes and tells you which switch is in the board, which was the Gateron Jade Pro switch. Very, very cool. So you're able to change the bottoming optimization, the rapid trigger, actuation, dead zone. They put a lot of work into the software, and I'm actually quite impressed. Like, I'm very, very impressed how much work Luminkey put into this keyboard. Now, I'm setting this up so that it's set up for how I play on Apex, and because it's the main game that I play, I don't really play Valorant or CSGO, so it's hard for me to give you guys like examples or even gameplay footage of using snap tap on this keyboard to see how well it works. So, but as you can see here, whenever you're clicking the key, the specific one that you're clicking on will show up on the performance and which key it is. Now, I did speak to Luminkey about this. I was hoping that they would actually put a legend on here, because as you can see, it only gives you the actuation points, but doesn't tell you what each key is. So, I mean, most of the time when you look at it, you'll probably understand which one is, because it's obviously the exact layout, but it would be nice to have the legend. Now, one key note, this is something I noticed while I was doing this testing originally, is that the snap tap and rapid snapping was not working. So if you do get a Meg or HE and you do this settings, you might have an issue where you see that all of a sudden those two keys aren't working. What you should do in this situation is go into your configuration and update your keyboard. You want to update your firmware and software all the way to the latest version, which should be about V1.03. By doing this, it will fix it. Luminkey knew about this issue. They've already put in an update, and they've explained that to me as well and went through the whole process with me, which means Luminkey is listening, guys, and they're making these changes really, really on the spot, which is amazing. So I'm truly impressed with the software. Out of all the softwares I've tried with all their Hall effect boards, like the Chillkey, Echo, this has to be the best software. Not as good as Wooting, but good. Now let me give you a little bit of a gameplay footage of me trying to practice super gliding on this keyboard, right? One thing nice I've noticed as well for this rapid trigger for this keyboard is it actually goes all the way to the 0.01. So that means, and I'm not sure how accurate that is exactly, but it looks like that's how well it's working. And because you can go into the 0.01 means you can be a little bit more accurate in terms of your super gliding timing. Like if you're an Apex player, super gliding is very, very accurate timing that you need in a very split second. So I put this at putting the C at 0.6 and then the spacer at 0.75. Now I might need to play around with that a little bit more to get the timing more accurate, but I mean, it also comes with practice, right? It comes with the practice of timing it perfectly. It was really interesting to use on this keyboard though, like the fact it goes all the way to the 0.01. So I definitely had some fun with it. I mean, I played a bunch of games and I'm still using it right now for gaming. It was well made. Of course, I'm going to be now practicing with my Wooting 80HE, but this is really really a good board for the price. Like it's about 129 USD for a good Hall effect keyboard. If you're looking for an alternative compared to a Wooting, this might be the thing to do. And like, as you can see, this is gameplay footage of me actually using the keyboard during the game. And this is a ranked game. By the way, I know it says silver, season reset. I just started playing ranked again. I actually haven't played ranked for the past like 2 seasons. So like in game, what benefits does a Hall effect keyboard have? So for example in Apex, which is a battle royale, it's all about like quickly farming, quickly picking up loot. Again, everything of course depends on your ping, but if you're able to make these movements, like Apex Legends for example is a big movement heavy game. So it's important that I'm able to strafe as I need to, make movements, sudden movements as I need to, and in general I find that like this Hall effect keyboards work best with Apex Legends, as well as of course like Counter-Strike and Valorant, which allows you to do specific strafing. But yeah, like me doing tap strafes in this game, me picking up items quickly, making quick armor swaps from bins or bags, or sorry, loot boxes. I find that this keyboard has been really great. Because right there, you can see how making specific movements, trying to do like wall jumps. Of course, that's not just keyboard; it's also mouse as well. But I've been enjoying this keyboard. Like I would say, it's a very, very good alternative if you're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable compared to a Wooting. I'm not amazing at video games. I'm more of the person that has to really, really practice to get better. Same thing goes around with like Apex, Valorant, CSGO, any game that I play. It requires practice. I did a lot of practicing. I got to like a Diamond Hitmasters once level, but yeah, I mean, you can see like smoothness of this keyboard in terms of pressing the skills I need at the right time, making the movements that I need to, following through with each step, and like making those armor swaps. Yeah, it's a huge benefit. Like you do get some competitive advantage if you were in a much higher competitive field and everyone's very similar skill level. Hardware makes a difference, right? Like it really does make a difference. It's a small difference, but it's enough that it's a huge competitive advantage. So I would say all of the keyboards, if you were wanting that kind of small advantage, it does help a lot. So as you guys saw the gameplay footage, and I got to really get hands-on with this keyboard and really test out it a lot. And I told you guys even the small issues that I've noticed, which was like no foam, and the whole snap tap not working. But Luminkey really like talked to me about it, and they're willing to take feedback as well in terms of this keyboard. But I can really tell that they put a lot of work in, and this is a really, really, really beautiful board. I have to say, like comparing it to my Wooting, comparing it to the ND65HE, I'm gonna be honest, I think I would probably choose this over the others. Even though Wooting, I would say, has a much better software, like a much, much better software. But Luminkey really did put a lot of work in this software. Like I think for an alternative, not big company that's been only focused on Hall effect boards, Luminkey has really done a good job. So like I'll put links down below in the description, but you should go take a look. I mean, it's really, really a nice board. I do wish though that it did sound a little bit better. I mean, I think the one thing for sure is I can say is that they did a good job with the stabilizers. I didn't really have that much rattling issues with any of the stabilizers. I do have the issue with my Wooting, which is why I replaced all of the stabilizers on my Wooting, and I probably will do the same with my ADHE. But yeah, I mean, this is a nice board, guys. It really is. And I have to admit, like, I'm quite surprised, though again, I kind of wish the keycaps were a bit different. I think this would have been super, super nice with like more of a beige color keycap set on top.
Let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys think? I mean, guys, think about the price of this board. It's an 8K board that's made fully aluminum. Look how beautiful the design is with the champagne. Wow. I was actually quite surprised. I mean, there was some glitches originally when I first started doing this review, but Luminkey did make updates, so please make sure to do your updates or you won't be able to use the snap tap and the other features on the advanced portion of the software. This guy's was only $129.99 USD. So when you compare it to, say, a Wooting 60 HE, this comes at a much budget price. And the thing is, this really does the job. Like, I was actually quite surprised of what this keyboard was capable of doing. And I think it's a good alternative. If you're looking for something that's a little bit more affordable, you can definitely look at this one. I would say it offers 8K, it offers all the different features, and it has a software that I think out of all the other companies out there that are much smaller than Wooting, this software actually is pretty good. So let me know down below in the comments, what do you guys think? And plus, this comes with the Gateron Jade Pro switches. So those are pretty new switches, and they sound pretty decent. So I'll catch you guys next time. Please check out the other videos, and I can't wait to show you guys my Wooting 80 HE next week. Here's the little hint.